But you had a song. A lot of your messages are in your music, and one of the songs I listened to recently was Severance.
Yeah.
I almost want to do a mic drop here
Uh,
because
Meaning,
there's a line specifically in there, and I'm looking down here because I have my notes. I want to make sure I get the line right. It says,
legit, fair.
"Ever since my severance, I've been popping since." You are listening to Christians in Corporate, the podcast that inspires corporate Christians to bring their full selves to work by shining a light on successful corporate executives and leaders across the globe. I'm your host, Pejura Kentari. Let's get into it. Today's guest has a story that will have you rethinking what is possible. Let me introduce you to Ace Patterson, or as he's known on stage, call me Ace. Ace is a heavy hitter in the tech world, and he's led teams at places like Deloitte, Facebook, and Google, and he has degrees from both Columbia University and UC Berkeley. Yep, he's got receipts. But that's just one layer. Ace is also a Billboard charting hip-hop artist with 7 projects under his belt and over 5 million streams. He's rocked stages, he's written a book, he's delivered powerful talks, and in 2023, he launched 5 Mic Studios, which is the creative force behind 5 Mics, a digital hip-hop trading card game that's flipping the script on how we experience music and gaming. Now, in this episode, Ace takes us through the highs, the pivots, the passion, and the purpose behind it all. And we talk about what it means to hold on to your creativity in the workspaces. We also talk about how to stay rooted in who you are in the corporate world and why side hustles aren't just hobbies, they are also lifelines. This conversation is full of real talk, it's full of gems, and it's full of serious inspiration. And I hope it lights up something in you. Let's dive in. Mr. Ace, thank you so much for joining Christians in Corporate podcast. How are you doing today?
I'm blessed and highly favored. I've heard that once or twice in my life, and it feels very applicable.
Yeah, all right. Listen, I know you're just about to bring the energy. I can feel it. But
I'm gonna try to relax. It's only 12 p.m., 12:09.
Yeah. I feel you. Before we get started and your story, I feel like we have so much to talk about. But before we get started, I did have a couple of questions I wanted to ask you. Actually, they're icebreaker questions because we want to make sure that the listeners get to know who you are a little bit before we dive deep into the deep story that we're going to dive into. So I have some this or that questions. Essentially, what it is that you just choose one answer. Whatever comes at the top of your mind, you don't have to overthink it, like whatever.
I'll explain it.
Then you can double click on it if you want to explain your response, but this or that. All right, you ready?
All right, cool.
You ready?
Yeah.
All right. Morning devotional or evening reflection?
Morning devotional.
Okay. Learn from failure or avoid failure?
Learn from failure.
Bible app or physical Bible?
Physical Bible.
Yeah, I love the crisp pages in my Bible too. I'm like,
I treat my Bible pages like fresh arms that need to be tattooed. Yeah.
Right all over.
I can't get that feeling from Bible Gateway. I need
I feel you.
Like my daughters, they sit on my lap and they go with. I let them know that Daddy's Bible does not get written into by anyone other than Daddy, but like outside of that, they can write in the devotional pages, but they can't, La Biblia es solo para Papa. Like Papa necesita escribir en su Biblia. Like that's, para Papa solo.
Yeah. I feel you. Okay, Hillsong or Maverick City?
Maverick City.
Yeah. Sunday nap or Sunday meal with the family?
Sunday meal with the family, but that's really just because I don't nap.
You don't nap. Tough decision or tough conversation?
As to like which one would I choose? Now I forgot why I'm choosing this or that. I'll just go with tough decision. I feel like I make I feel like conversations aren't tough. Decisions are tough, but I like making tough decisions.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I hear you. And I'll give you 2 more. Old Testament stories or New Testament teachings?
New Testament teachings. And I respect the Old Testament.
Okay. And are you a texter or are you a pick up the phone and call person?
I'm a texter.
You're a texter? Oh.
Yeah.
I'm
But
a
I'm
pick up
like,
the phone and call.
I'm a texter that is poor at texting these days. When I do talk on the phone, though, I'm in it. I'm in it.
Yeah, yeah,
But I go text first.
yeah, yeah. I feel you. I feel you. All right, sir. Welcome once again. I'm excited because I feel like we have a lot to talk about, right? Between
Why was that so tough? All right, let's go.
yeah. I feel
I'm
like
like,
we
should
have
I
a
call? I was like, should I call my mom more? No, I'm playing.
yeah.
Actually, I actually do call them more because of my daughters. Like,
hmm
it's a fun way to squeeze in more like FaceTimes and stuff like
Yeah,
that. Even
yeah,
when
yeah.
there's like
How old are your girls?
nothing to say, there's always something to say. Huh?
Yeah,
Sorry.
how old are your girls?
1 and 2.
Oh, they're young.
Yeah. Uh,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Love
They keep
that
me
for
busy.
you. They
Thank
definitely
you.
keep you busy. They definitely keep you busy. Well, between your young girls keeping you busy, between your Ivy League school degrees, between I know we're going to talk about you. I think when you were 7, you were homeless. You were living in a homeless shelter.
Yeah.
Between your Billboard chart music, like I mean, there's just so much to talk about, right? But I want to start in a particular space because when we spoke last week, or was it a couple of weeks ago when we first connected, you said
Wow.
something that was super profound to me. And you said this, I want to make sure that I get the quote right. You said, you encourage others to live a rich life and not just a life of riches. I want us
Yeah.
to start there. What exactly do you mean by that?
To give additional context as to where this phrase came from, this came from a doctor that I had, like the childhood doctor that I had growing up.
Mhm.
Uh, we didn't have nothing,
Mm.
like nothing. I don't remember how old I was. It feels like so long ago, but I feel like it was younger than 7 that we
Mm.
were in a homeless shelter. But we definitely were also like just bouncing from house to house my entire upbringing.
Mm.
Um, to the point where like after I graduated from Columbia and I had no place to live, that like wasn't that
Yeah.
wasn't shocking. It was like, all right, cool. I'll like sleep on my friends' floors. That
Mhm.
we'll make it work. But I was around high school ish age, and there was this doctor in this wealthy neighborhood that like he told me to live that way,
Mhm.
and you know, again, being in the hood, being so used to nothing, but also going to a school where people would drive in Benzes and have outdoor pools, indoor pools, all these things. A lot of my desires growing up was like, man, like I want things. Like I want
Mhm.
to have a place that I can call home. I want to have a car and not have to rely on buses and trains and I heard this when I was like, I don't know, 13, 14, 15, and didn't really like it. Probably hit my mom harder than it hit me at the time. And so she
Yeah.
kept repeating it to me.
Uh,
Uh, and then just life happened, coming to Christ happened, and being in a situation where okay, I have nowhere to live again, but now I have the Lord. it
mhm.
was this it was this different state of like what it meant to be content. And so like later I learned Philippians 4, where Paul is talking about being able to live with abundance and live with nothing and to be
Yeah.
content in
Content
all,
always.
right? And so like I learned that after, and the weight of that phrase started to have more meaning, where really it's just like, yo, this material stuff, whatever. Like you get it, you
Yeah.
don't get it. I later in life got a lot of stuff. I've also remember what it was like to have nothing. I've been in seasons where it felt like I had a lot, and then I also felt like I had nothing because
Yeah.
health or family passing away, or just trauma happening in like your own family and life, and just things are happening. It's like, yo, this stuff, like it comes and goes, but what kind of life are you living? What
Yeah.
kind of and especially now that I have kids, you know what I mean? Like what what example am I setting for those that are looking at me? Am I living a life of significance? Am I living a life of purpose? Am I living a life of meaning? And so just really taking stock of where are my treasures being laid,
Yeah.
and am I just focused on laying them here? Am I just focused on status and degrees and charts and numbers and metrics and da 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 da? Or is there something more to life? And I'm just grateful that again, I got that message when I was a kid. And then just as life continued to grow, and as, through music, I was able to reach more people and people are listening to me. It's like, okay, well, what am I going to tell these people that are listening to me? And it's like,
Yeah.
yo, don't don't just look at the stuff that I have and think that that's what makes me who I am.
Yeah.
Like, look deeper than that. And I want you to also look deeper in your own life to realize that you actually have way more than whatever you think you're lacking.
Right. Right.
And that's all glory to God. So
Yeah.
that's what it means.
No, I love that because I think we need to realize that there's a lot of things money can't buy, right? You can be
Mhm.
in the corporate world, you can have all these fancy jobs, earning thousands of money, of dollars, or even millions
Yeah.
of dollars. But
Yeah.
then if you have no one to go home to,
Come
or
on.
if you're not doing any meaningful work, then
Yeah.
like it doesn't mean anything, right? So that
Yeah.
when you first told me that, that was like, oh, that hit me hard. I'm like, we're all trying to hustle up the corporate
Yeah.
ladder. We're all
Yeah.
trying to be the best, AK, whatever. But we really have to remember that that's not what God has told us to do in the
That's
workplace,
right.
one, right? Like, we're
Yeah.
not just there to get a paycheck. We're there to have meaningful work and have impact and purposeful careers and all that stuff. So, love
Totally.
that you said that. Love that that's your message. But
Yeah.
let's go back a little bit, right? Because you kind of
Yeah.
mentioned it before. I want to talk a little bit about early beginnings, right? At 7 years old, you found yourself in a homeless shelter with your family. I think was it your mom and siblings, correct?
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, let's talk a little bit about that. And what do you think that God was doing in that season of your life?
Uh, I have no idea. Yeah, man, two Jamaican parents.
Mm,
They got I was born out of wedlock. They got
mm,
married, then they divorced, and my dad was around, like he was in the picture, but he was, living on the other side of Bridgeport. My mom was over here. We're going through life, and then I got to an age where I would run away from my mom's house, go to my dad's house, do the whole back and forth. It was,
yeah,
the whole child support thing. But in that particular season, it was me, my it was my mom and me and my two siblings.
yeah,
Um, and I it wasn't like forever that we were in the homeless shelter. We ended up finding another place, and then another place, and then another place. But it was just one of those moments. If I had to like remember some of the things that happened in the homeless shelter, it'd be three things. One, I remember getting an asthma attack
mm,
because people were just like smoking and everything like that.
wow,
I definitely had asthma growing up. I couldn't breathe after birth and that whole thing, but I remember traumatic moments like those. I remember some kid trying to like bully my brother. Actually, he was probably just trying to play with my little brother, but I was really defensive. And so like he had like a high top and I cut a piece of his high top. I remember that very vividly. And then the third thing I remember was reenacting a bunch of Disney movies to my mom to try to make her laugh. And
mm,
that was just something that I would do all the time, just growing up in general. My mom would tell me how I just had a really high EQ. Like I could tell immediately, are you sad? Are you happy? Are you whatever? And I'd ask her. It's actually nuts because my oldest daughter does similar questions with me. I'm just
mm,
like, just double check, right? Like, are you happy or sad? And like, truthfully, like I don't lie to her. My mom would never lie to me. If she was sad, she would let me know she was sad. And I
mhm,
do the same thing, with my daughter. Like if I'm in a mood, I'll let her know that I'm in a mood because
yeah,
I don't want her to doubt that intuition of being able to read people
yeah,
because it served me in a way where in that season I just learned how to connect, entertain, push you out of whatever mode you were in into this mode that I want you to be in.
yeah, yeah.
And it ended up being a gift that I use in so many other ways.
Yeah,
But
I was just gonna say that. It's like that's actually a gift that you use now, especially in your music and all that stuff. So that's really good to see that like the early beginnings are kind of like getting you ready for what you're doing now. But what would you say, when you think about, so you ended up, it sounds like you ended up moving to different houses, but you finally got settled. You went to high school, right?
I don't know about settled, but
Oh, okay. Okay. Let's talk about that. So once you
life kept happening. Life kept
okay.
happening.
So like how
I like
frequent?
even in high school, I think we moved two times.
Oh
Like,
wow. Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
this
So when would you say when would you say the pivotal moment happened? Meaning that like you began to find stability. Was that way later on in your career, or was that when you ended up going to college? Like when would you say?
This is such a deep question because in the physical world, I have not found stability in
Yeah,
my life.
yeah.
It's not a thing that I rely on. And I think this is so deep because my wife, who I would say in contrast, has had a lot more stability in her
Hmm.
life, has had two literal moves, like moving from Ethiopia and moving from San Jose to Texas.
Hmm.
And then I guess like moving for school and like moving with me as,
Right.
husband and wife. But since her being with me, she's experienced a lot more instability and just having to be a little more, let's
Agile.
just pick up and go. It's
Yeah,
like we're up north and it's like, babe, I feel called. We got to go to LA. And she's like,
yeah,
that was never a thing in my life. And now here she is in LA, loving LA, by the way, probably
yeah,
more than me. But like, nah, I would say I found stability with the Lord, not
yeah.
out of any
That's good.
particular circumstance in my
Yeah.
life. I've probably still have moved on average 2 to 3 years
Wow.
of my life. Like career wise,
Hmm.
uh, uh, like just life moving wise, career too, not even necessarily because I wanted to. I wasn't one of those people that was like, man, I want to, I'm done. It's been 5 months. I'm ready to grow. Like it would
Yeah,
literally be like Facebook poached me from Deloitte and,
yeah. Hmm.
Google laid me off and I start being at Techstars. I know I'm jumping around all over the place, but like it's one of those
Yeah,
things where it's like some of this stuff wasn't planned. It was just like God being like, I bet you're over
yeah,
here now. You're over here. And I'm just one of those people where I've spent my whole life having to be nimble. I don't care. I'm
yeah.
like, all right, bet, let's go. All right, I'm over here now. Cool.
Yeah.
So
You
it's all
saying
with
that
the
kind
Lord.
of makes me realize and makes me remember actually that like God is the only stability. Like he's the only one that stays
100%.
constant, right?
Yeah,
And everything can change in a minute. Like, as you said, you can move. For me, I moved from the UK to the US. I've been here for a hot minute, to be honest. But
that's awesome.
like just that change is like, oh, and then you're changing jobs, you're changing all that. But you know what? I want to go here because I feel like this is where the conversation is leading me. I want to talk
Yeah.
about one of your songs, right? So,
Okay.
for those of you guys who don't know, Mr. Call Me Ace is a Billboard chart topping musical recording artist, and he has a song. I encourage everyone to go and listen to it. All the links will be in the description bar below. But you had a song. A lot of your messages are in your music, and one of the songs I listened to recently was Severance.
Yeah.
I almost want to do a mic drop here
Uh,
because
Amazing.
there's a line specifically in there, and I'm looking down here because I have my notes. I want to make sure I get the line right. It says,
Legit. Fair.
"Ever since my severance, I've been popping since."
Been
Right?
popping
And that
ever
really
since.
that really stuck out to me, Ace, because a lot of people are being laid off in the corporate world right now. Let's just call a spade, right?
Mhm.
I personally know a lot of people. I'm sure you do.
Yeah.
And then I'm sure we both have experienced receiving severances. I know I've experienced it once. So I would love for you just to one, share your experience, and two, let's talk a little bit about what it feels to be given a severance and asked to go, and what does that mean
Yeah.
for you? I kind
Yeah.
of sense that you're popping, so we know that it looks like it worked out. But
Yes,
I want you to talk to those people who are going through it right now.
totally. I do. It's funny because I, in a way, in a very strong way, I felt like the Lord wanted me to make an album called Severance
Mhm.
with a song called Severance for people that are going through severance that
Mhm.
otherwise would not feel the way that I felt.
Yeah.
Because I'm aware that people have gotten severance and have been asked to leave jobs that they've had really strong identities towards
Uh-huh.
and felt like, wow, my life is over because I don't have this job.
Yeah.
I, from the moment that I woke up and found out that I had severance, that was not a thought that crossed my mind. I was aware that it was a business decision. I was also aware that I was on paternity leave. And I was also aware that I'm about to start this accelerator program for this idea that I had, because while I was on paternity leave, I was pitching to like make this thing come to life, because I also was not strapped identity wise to the thing that I was doing.
Yeah.
I had no idea how I was going to do all the things, but I was going to figure it out, because my whole life I've had to figure things out, right? And God's going to make an answer, and his answer was, hey, I'm going to cut this line and put you over here. My managers and my skip level like immediately reached out. My team is in tears, everyone's sad, like, no, they didn't want this to happen, it just happened, right? So I was comforted by the fact that, like, okay, you didn't tell me to go, like they told me to go, and you also have to deal with me leaving. Like, it's a traumatic moment right? So like, I'm aware of the humanity in that. I'm aware of the reality of that. I literally was going to start work the next week, and like that happened. So cool. That all being said, I was like, in the spirit, this is wild, in like a triple exclamation. What does this mean? Lord, what are you doing? Because I'm about to start. I'm like, you're telling me like I'm about to be a full-time founder, building a hip-hop trading card game. Like, that's what I've been like preparing for 6 months. And now you've given me money. Like, you've given me like my early investment to make this happen. Are you serious? What? Oh, snap. This is crazy. Come on. What? I took a video. I'm like, Lord, my God knows me.
Right.
He handpicked me when no one believed in me. He said, son, you finna do this, and you're going to give me all the glory. I felt this. I had no idea what the future, no one knows what the future holds. All I knew was that literally 2 weeks later, I'm about to start this accelerator. On paper, it's going to look like I left. On paper, it's going to look like this was planned, but it wasn't planned by me. It was ordained by him. God. So with that kind of like mindset, I started writing Severance. I had an album called Return to Office scheduled for when I was supposed to return to office, because that's how I make music. I don't I don't have to make music. I make music because I was called to make music and just be creative and be this person. And so I literally just use my life as the canvas to share these things. And so I had an album called Return to Office scheduled to be for when I return to office. I like to live my art as my life, and my life is my art. But I got laid off, and then the album dropped. So I'm promoting Return to Office, not in the office, but while I'm promoting Return to Office, I'm writing Severance. And then a few months later, I write. And if you look at the artwork, you'll notice that they're foils of each other. Like Return to Office, I'm walking into the office, but Severance, I'm walking out of the office. And like just even the album cover, for those that have been my fans for years, like they know I talk about the journey of being in the office and juggling my life outside. And so and I always ask, like, when is the Lord going to deliver me out of this? Like not in that way, but like kind of in that way, right? And so Severance becomes this moment for like the Call Me Ace journey of like, this is how you leave, but this isn't what you thought it was going to be. Right. And so here's how you leave, where it looks bad. It looks bad. It looks horrible. Like everyone's crying. Everyone's writing these LinkedIn posts about like, I want to thank the person that left me, and all these things. And it's like, I want you to do something different. And so, when I left Facebook, I made a song called Facebook. It went mini viral inside of Facebook. I made a video, all this kind of stuff. And like, that was my goodbye letter to Facebook, which was a common thing that people did inside of Facebook. They would write letters about like, this is my last day and blah, 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 blah. But I didn't want to do the common way. I wanted to make a song and a music video. And
of course you did.
So this was my like, let me take that energy and take it to another level in the context of me talking about juggling these lives. And so Severance and just that whole album in general is just about how like, here I am, like laid off, still working, no job, this purpose. Like that is my mindset now, where it's like,
come on,
I'm just fully committed, and it's not even because I chose it. That's the part that's all God. I didn't ask to do this. Like, I would have still been juggling if the Lord let me, but here I am. And so like, honestly, that whole, ever since my Severance been popping ever since, like, I just wanted to share that perspective to people, where it might look like it's over on paper, it might look like it's over to the human knowledge, it might look like it's over. But with that same token, it can very much be the beginning of something
Beginning of
great,
something.
greater than what you would have expected. And I just wanted to exemplify that.
Yeah.
You know, again, I wrote that song. I had no idea 2 years later I'd be with you talking about the highs and lows of life since then. You know, I just got back into the booth last Monday after writing that album. It's been 2 years because I've just been head down grinding, being an entrepreneur. Lord Jesus, what am I doing? You know, like, but that was the moment. That's how I felt. And that whole album was written on a high.
Yeah. You know, I think you said so much. There's a couple of topics I want to double click on. One, you talked about identity, which I definitely want to talk about. Two, you talked about side hustles, things that you do alongside the corporate world, which I also wanted to talk about. But I wanted to address, you know, just those people who, and I think you said it all, those people who are living on a severance right now, putting in their applications, nothing is landing, they're frustrated. They believe that God has called them to the corporate world, you know, and all this stuff. I personally just wanted to encourage them too, because I feel like a lot of people I actually want to talk about the power of words too, right? Because I think a lot of people are also using their words to destroy their destiny, right? And so a lot of them, you know, I'm never going to find anything. I mean, I've had so many conversations with people saying, I'm not going to find anything. It's dry and right. The market is dry. And I'm like, why don't you just change? You may be thinking that, but you know what? Start changing the way you talk. And then as you do that, your mindset will change, right?
Totally.
And so, you know, the Bible talks about life and death and the power of the tongue, and those who love it will shall eat the fruit thereof. So it's really important for you to speak life into your situation. Severance or no severance, just keep doing that. But let's circle back and let's talk about.
That was so good.
Yeah, let's talk about. I'm trying to think which one I should do. Let's talk about identity, bro. Let's talk about identity. Because listen, I know, I'm sure you know people too who put everything in their work.
I know.
work for this company. I've been there for X number of years. I do this, I do that. Like, and I think again, this is linked to severance. Like, as soon as that job goes, the identity goes, and they almost forget who they are in Christ.
Yeah.
Is that something that you ever experienced?
No.
You're like, nah, sis. That wasn't.
not in the, because again, well, you know, shout outs to you know, my mom, my dad. You know, my mom, always a dreamer, always believed that I could do whatever. It's so dope. Just even like, because my mom and I, like, growing up, we weren't like homies, but now, I mean, my mom is one of the most creative people I ever knew, and encouraged me to be creative and use my gifts. Just putting me in situations that would. I was putting in those 10,000 hours as a kid. That was how I survived. Like, I would communicate through art. That's part of the reason why I'm a texter over a caller, is because growing up, I don't want to talk. Like, what is there to talk about? Life sucks. Like, I'm putting it all in the words and the pictures and the stories or whatever. But that was also encouraged by my mom. And like, even fast forward right now, because my mom is a, you know, award-winning author, writer, actor, me and her.
So that's where you get it from then. You get it from your
1,000%.
mama.
Oh, my mom would, like, we would, growing up, like, me and my siblings would sing the songs my mom would write. Like, that's how we grew up. And we were also, like, preparing to be like the Jackson 3. It just never really, you know what I mean? But like, we was those, like, in the homeless shelter, like, killing it, you know? And so just fast forward to even right now, my mom and I are working on, and my brother are working on a script for the IP that is my job now. Like, I feel like a grown kid working, you know what I mean? Anyway, that wasn't life growing up. But what I would say, between that and then my dad, who just is the epitome of work ethic, and just, like, you know, survival is the name of the game, and you just got to make it work. And just having to navigate through, you know, being where I'm from, but then being around affluent people and getting access to things that even the Lord just, like, showcasing just how he was able to put me through things that just on paper I should not be there. Like, that's always been my life. And so just in retrospect, coming to the Lord and recognizing that, like, I went to these schools and I've gone to these places, but I was me before any of these things. Exactly. And if the Lord is going to use those as keys to get me to the next thing, that's all glory to him. But never did I think, like, one, I deserved them. Two, they made me. And 3, when I would be in those situations, it was me being me that helped me progress through those things. Like I was always doing things so unconventionally that only later in life did I realize, like, oh snap, like, so you mean I could just talk like this in the corporate space and I'd get more love and shine than if I was to try to switch it up? Bet. You know what I mean? So like I have this line in Severance on this song called Security, where, you know, it's a play on words, right? It's a play on like the need for job security, the feeling of like money being your security, but also the lack of security that you feel when those things are stripped from you, the feeling of being paranoid about what the future holds and needing to have security to like restrain you, restrain others, like all these things. But in that song, I talk about how back when I was young and broke, the paychecks was luring me. But then it occurred to me that I bring the value to the brand when they sign me. That came with maturity. And so like the more I would, you know, get traded, if you will, or not even get traded, literally get signed. Like, hey, we want you. You know, back when I was at Deloitte and Facebook was like, we want you. They reached out to me through LinkedIn. I thought it was spam. You know what I mean? Like, we want you. Google being like, we want you. Like later on, I was like, oh snap, y'all want me. Like it's less of, oh man, if only I could da da da. It's like, no. Like, y'all, I have something you want. And so for the people that are truly in a situation where it's like, if you have things that people want, understand that, recognize that. It's not, hey, can you chain me? It's, hey, can we work together? And you have something I want, I have something you want. Let's make something happen. I'm not saying everybody has to be an entrepreneur. I don't think it's the healthiest thing for everybody to do. But if you have that desire to do that and you got severance and time, and really it's time. If you have time to do it, do it. Like being a side hustler is great. It's fun, but it also is draining. And when you have more responsibilities, like, I don't know how I thought I could do this and be a father and and have a job. Like, it's hard enough just doing this and being a parent and a husband. You know what I mean? So it's like, all I'm saying is that sense of identity comes with like, where's your value? And so just knowing that I am the son of the Most High and he is the creator and author of everything. He can open whatever door. He opens doors. Man, I would see it being at these jobs and my manager don't like what I'm doing, but the CMO loves what I'm doing. And therefore we're doing what Ace wants us to do. Like it's not a matter of what the opposition is. It's a matter of what the Lord says it is. And so it's not about what life looks like with your eyes. It's what is your faith saying? Do you have vision? Our pastor just preached about this last week. Like those that don't have vision, those are the ones that perish. So like, what is your vision? You know, and is it a godly vision? And your words, like you said, like, are you speaking words that bring life? Are you speaking life-bearing words? Or are you living in a deathly vision? Like your vision will determine where you're going. So I have been one of those ones where it's like, I don't care what it looks like. I don't, you know, brand names, whatever, cool. Like, and of course the Lord would use me in the, I don't want to sound like the person that's like, don't go to Paris. I've been to Paris and they're so mean, you know, like go to Paris, experience Paris. Paris is dope. It's cool. But also like, just because you went to Paris doesn't make you better than the person that didn't go to Paris. That's how I come across. Right. So like, whatever, these brand names, they're cool. They're Ivy League, whatever, HBCU, they're just things like, but who are you? And I was the person that like, when I would go to these affluent schools for high school, I was friends with the janitors, the cooks, the people, right? Like those were my homies because I actually related to them a lot better than the people I was going to school with. And so I never cared where I was. Somebody, last thing I'll say, because I'm getting a little amped.
No.
Somebody was interviewing me back when I was at Facebook, and you know, I bring them in. I'm like, yo, let's do this in person. I want to bring you to my headquarters. You know what I mean? Brought him up. We're eating the free food. We're sitting. This is San Francisco. We're sitting at the top. We're eating food. And he's just amazed. And he's like, wow, like you just get to live like this every day. And I'm like, yeah, bro. But downstairs, there are people that are homeless that don't have food right now. Like, just think of the disparity of like what we're, and like, I can see that because I've been there. You know what I mean? And so like, that's really what I try to just embody, if not say. Like, I don't think it's enough to say, like, we got to live it. But like, that's really what it is for me. It's like, this is just stuff, y'all. Like, what are we really doing with our lives?
Exactly. I love that. I love that response. And I really hope that spoke to people in terms of identity, because I think it's exactly right. I think that we got to know who we are in Christ. We're rooted in Christ, and he's the one that will navigate us and take us to those high places, or even like keep us in the valley when things are low, right? But he's still we should always be anchored in him. But I want to talk also about side hustles because I
Yeah.
know a lot of people too, right? I don't know if I wouldn't even say I'm one of them, but like obviously I'm in the corporate world.
You
Work.
are side hustling as we literally speak.
I
But that's cool. But that's cool.
maybe.
We will call ourselves what we want to call ourselves. I just think it's funny that
Yes, okay. I'm
we
side
are on your side hustle right now.
I always want to say like it's more of like aligning what walking in my purpose. Although I do think the role I have at where I work, I am definitely walking in my purpose. But let's talk about that because I feel like a lot of people have issues balancing that, right? They have like this
Yeah.
huge desire to do X, Y, and Z, and then they're at their job, but they feel like they
Yeah.
need their paycheck to get them to fund, right? You need your paycheck to fund the side hustle. I think a lot of people
Yeah.
that mentality. But how did you balance it? Because I know that you were doing both for a while, and then obviously your story changed. You were like, "Praise the Lord, I got severance, and that's actually helped me
No.
fund my situation." But for those of people who don't
No.
have severances or like trying to balance it out, what advice would you give them?
Uh I don't think there's anything wrong with using your job as an incubator.
Yeah.
I've rapped about that several times. Where like I took the big tech money, made it invest money. That's a career hack, you know. Like that's
People need to get these albums out again. I'm gonna put
listen,
everything in that, but like
listen.
you're
That's in Severance too.
speaking
Matter of
truth.
fact, that's in Severance too. Yeah, no, I try. Listen, I went off. I used to work at Google. Now the job's much cooler. Big boss talk. I know they talking about me by the cooler. Like, come on. Anyway, side hustles. Okay. Yeah, no, I think time management's key.
Yeah,
um, uh, being purposeful is very key. That's the thing is like it's so easy to have a job and then go home and then watch Netflix.
yeah,
Like it's a very easy thing to do. It's tempting. I wish
yeah,
I could too, you know.
yeah.
Some days I do, give up and binge and watch some Daredevil Born Again until it's done and then I get back to work. Like you got to do, it's bound. I'm not a mutant, you know what I
Right,
mean? Like
right,
I'm a
right.
human being too, but like by and large, right? Like if you want to do it, you're going to do it. And I say this to people where, how do I break into the music industry or how do I break into gaming or how do I break into da da da? It's like if you want it, you're going to do it. Like no one gave me a pass to get into the music industry. I wanted to make music. I
Yeah,
made
you
music.
started.
I gave it to people that liked it and they wanted more. And then I gave more and then they would, right? Like it, if you want it, you're going to do it. And so if you want to do something, yes, you can apply. And if no one gives you a job, that's not the end of it. You can then figure out what you need to do. Oh, you want to be a marketer? What is something that you can market? Like just for free, like convince somebody to go buy some Vaseline, like just
Right.
do stuff, right? But like do the job if that's what you want to do. And so really to me, side hustling wasn't because I thought it was fancy. I didn't really care about terminology about my life, multifaceted entrepreneur, multi-hyphenate, creative entrepreneur, whatever, all these words. Fam, I'm a survivor. I make something out of nothing. I make dreams come true. I do this because I want to, not because I have to. I do this because it's an itch. It's a real blessing to other people. It's a gift God gave me. It'd be a sin if I didn't do it. These are the things that are pushing me to do these things, right? And so that being said, when I learned, because I was making music as a kid all the time, then stopped making music, graduated from business school, wanted to make music again. That's a story for another day. Slash, I've said it a lot. So if people, Google me, I've said that story a lot. But like getting back into music, it's like, all right, bet, like I'm going back into it, but as a Deloitte consultant. So I'm just gonna make music as a Deloitte consultant. Like it wasn't how do I make it work? It's like how do you breathe? How do you blink? How do you eat food when it's breakfast time? Like you do it. Like it's not, oh man, I gotta like schedule how many times I blink. No, you just do it. And so for me, it was just like, all right, I gotta make time to do this because if I don't do this, I'm stripping something away that is really crucial to me. If it's not crucial to you, I don't know what to tell you. I think it's insane to just use time to do things that are not crucial to you. Don't just sell things on Amazon because it's cool. Don't just like invest in real estate if you really don't care about real estate. But if you're like, oh man, like I want to do this because I understand the value of having, property and I want to pass this. If there's things that are really, then you're going to do it. Right. And so that's really the thing. And then your job, and that's what I say about like whether it's a side hustle or entrepreneur or whatever, like you don't have to do these things just because other people are doing them. If you truly are doing a job during the day that fuels you and energize and you feel complete afterwards, and then you go home and you watch Netflix, you are not a bad person. You're not living in purpose either, right? Like you are doing great. Like be where you need to be, but to the people that are side hustle, why are you doing it is my number one question. And if it's purpose driven, then you'll make it work. Don't berate the job that is paying you to do the thing. If it is incubating your thing, then you do that until you no longer need to, right? Until it's self-sustaining. If it's just something because it's a hobby that brings in money or whatever, then you're grateful for the ability to do both. And I don't know, you don't have the pressure of like it needs to be a unicorn or whatever. You know what I mean? Like you're doing it because it's a blessing.
Yeah, I love that. I think there's a couple of things I would say to that. I think that keeping the vision and writing it plain, like just making sure you have that North Star keeps you going, right? I know people who've had side hustles and then they stop and then they go back because they just keep on going. And I also think that like usually your side hustle is something where you're exercising the God-given gifts God has given you. And when we think about the big picture, the reason why God gave us those gifts is so that we can build the kingdom of God, right? And so we can equip the kingdom of God. And so it's almost like thinking that people are waiting, right? A way I've heard it says that people are waiting for your gift. Like, Ace, people are waiting for your music. Like, I'm so happy you got back into the studio last week or a few weeks ago, right? People are waiting. People are waiting for that podcast episode. People are waiting for the gifts. So I think that, again, I would also say that too, that like, if you have a side hustle and you're using your job as an incubator to help, fund it, do it because people are waiting for that deliverable, that whatever you're producing, people are waiting for it. So it's really, really important.
Yeah. Right. And I've discussed it very openly, probably to the point of like making the on-site job a little awkward about just like, this is what this job is to me, that being said, I say that, but like, I also work as unto the Lord. So at the job, like you can't do bad at the actual job to get the grace to do the job outside of the job. Like if anything, especially for me, especially a Black man that walks into the office with chains, I'm literally being scrutinized from the moment, like forget everything, forget where I went to school and everything, just my existence in the office. It's already just like, you have to prove that you should even be at this table. So I'm already working to that point to just, I'm doing it, but then I'm doing it at that level and I'm doing this music. Like that's the part to me personally. That was the crazy part. And I would rap about it. It was like, man, my wife always doesn't know how I just like forget my own rhymes, but like I have a song in Young and Gifted where like I talk about how like I have to do the job so well so that when I'm out of office touring, like they can't blame it on my workload. Like they can't blame it on how hard, right? Like and so you have to do your job, like literally do your job, bless the Lord through your actual job, whether it's, I'm not because of the fact that I always knew that what I was able to do and what I wanted to do was bigger than whatever job someone can ever hire me to do.
Yes.
I was always content with the fact that this job can only do so much for me to fulfill me. There was this one job I was really, really, really tempted to get, and I tried my so best to get it. And I was in the final runnings, and the Lord was like, "Nah, you're not going to get this. I'm going to give you this other job that like didn't hit the bar." And I realized that if I had that job, I probably wouldn't do anything else. Like it was that I thought if there was any job in the world, it would be that job. And the Lord did not give me that job. I actually gave it to one of my friends. Happy for him, had the other job. We're both in the same company, right? But I had the job that made me say, okay, bet, then I have to go out and keep doing this thing. Like I'm telling you, like I truly, I give it all to the Lord. So like for me personally, because that's how I'm wired, Rosa would tell me, Rosa's my wife, it was like, I went from Facebook to Google and she was like, you're not going to be satisfied. I'm like, yeah, I know, but I'm not switching to be satisfied. I'm switching because X, Y, and Z reasons. Right. And so it was one of those things where, because that's my makeup, I do what I need to do to satisfy that job, that criteria, whatever box they need to check, And then when I know y'all got y'all boxes checked, I'm gonna go over here and do this thing, and I can be a blessing at the job, just doing my work in that regards. And then of course, I mean, they're rapping my music at the job. So I know what I'm doing outside of work. My job affected, I was able to work on the music side of YouTube because of the music stuff I was doing outside of the job.
Yeah.
And then when I got into YouTube on the music side, the Facebook music team was trying to poach me back to Facebook on the music team as if I wasn't trying to be on the music side at Facebook.
You were there.
It was another example of how, like, hey man, just be you. Like, you know what your value is, you know what it is.
Yeah.
Like, they want you, but they act like they don't want you once they have you. But like, you got to know who you are regardless.
Yeah.
Like,
Listen. Oh, you just said so much in that.
I'm done.
You just said so much. That was so good. You just said so much. And I really hope that what you just said spoke to someone.
Sis, listen, I'm going to tell you, because I took the meeting. I took the Facebook music interview with the hiring manager and just lightly reminded her that I used to work at Facebook in the same building as her. And I see her scrambling on LinkedIn. I can't see her screen, but I know what she's doing.
Right.
And she's like, oh, you used to work here? Like, don't blame your recruiter.
You don't know.
Don't blame your recruiter. Don't act like you didn't do your homework. Right. I know exactly who you are. I know what this is. I'm okay. But I am a little petty like that. Come on. I need material for these bars.
I know, right? Oh, that's so funny. Listen, this has been so good. We've covered so much in terms of identity. We've talked about side hustles. We've talked about, how good God has been in your life. We talked about your amazing music. So where can people find your music?
So my rap name, my stage name is Call Me Ace, 3 words. It's like a Tribe Called Quest. And you can find me wherever you listen to music, Spotify, Apple, YouTube, whatever. Everywhere.
Awesome. And I've said this for the 3rd time, I will link the links below so everyone can just go and listen to it. Because listen, I think I was listening to Severance. So that was like, first of all, obviously we could talk about the lyrics, but the beat was there too. I was like,
I know.
And I started like singing the hook afterwards. I'm like, this is.
Shout out to my brethren, producer Blankface. Yeah.
Yes, it was a thing. It was a thing. Thank you so much, Ace, for your time. I know you're busy. And I appreciate your time.
Thank you. I know you're busy as well. This was awesome.
And I
probably the dopest, the most unique podcast set of questions. The vibes were strong. We freestyled the whole thing. I had no idea what you were going to ask me. This was awesome.
Yes, I love it. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you as well.
Thank you so much for listening to the Christians in Corporate podcast. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I would love to hear your feedback. So please be sure to comment down below or connect with me on social media using the handle @PageRakinTarin. Oh, wait, and one more thing. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content just like this. See you in the next episode.